In the bustling heart of Valdosta, Georgia, a quaint establishment known as Holt's Sweet Shop stood as a local favorite. Its aroma of freshly baked goods wafted through the air, drawing in regulars and newcomers alike. On an otherwise typical morning, the shop became the unexpected backdrop for a significant moment in the political arena. Senator J.D. Vance, the Republican vice presidential nominee, had been crisscrossing the nation, engaging with voters and sharing his vision for the country's future. His campaign trail was filled with rallies, town halls, and spontaneous visits to local businesses. This particular day led him to Holt's Sweet Shop, aiming to connect with everyday citizens over a shared appreciation for sweet treats. As Vance entered the shop, accompanied by his security detail and a few members of the press, the atmosphere shifted. The presence of cameras and unfamiliar faces introduced a palpable tension. Behind the counter stood a young woman, her expression a mix of surprise and apprehension. She had not been informed of the visit and was unprepared for the sudden spotlight. Vance approached the counter with a warm smile, extending his hand in greeting. "Hi there, I'm J.D. Vance, running for vice president. It's a pleasure to meet you." The young woman, clearly uncomfortable with the unexpected attention, responded softly. "I'd prefer not to be on camera." Respecting her wishes, Vance gestured to the cameraman to cease filming. "Of course, we want you to feel comfortable," he assured her. Turning his attention to the array of pastries, he attempted to lighten the mood. "Everything looks delicious. I'll take 2 dozen assorted, please. Maybe some glazed, some with sprinkles, and a few cinnamon rolls, whatever you recommend." As she began preparing the order, the initial awkwardness began to dissipate. Vance continued, "How long have you been working here?" "A couple of months," she replied, her demeanor relaxing slightly. "Well, it's clear you're doing a fantastic job. This place has a wonderful reputation," Vance complimented, aiming to make her feel at ease. After completing the purchase, Vance thanked her and left a generous tip in the jar. "Thank you for the great service. Keep up the excellent work." As he exited the shop, the incident could have been relegated to a minor footnote in the day's events. However, in the age of social media and 24-hour news cycles, the encounter quickly gained traction. Clips of the brief, somewhat awkward exchange began circulating online, with various interpretations and commentaries. Some critics seized the opportunity to portray Vance as out of touch, focusing on the initial discomfort of the interaction. Memes and parodies surfaced, exaggerating the awkwardness of the moment. Late-night comedians incorporated the incident into their routines, highlighting the unease and turning it into a humorous anecdote. However, a deeper narrative began to emerge as more information came to light. In subsequent interviews, Vance addressed the encounter, expressing empathy for the young woman. "I felt terrible that our unannounced visit caused her discomfort," he explained. "Walking in with cameras and security can be overwhelming, and I regret not ensuring she was comfortable before proceeding." This acknowledgement showcased a level of humility and self-awareness that resonated with many. It highlighted the often overlooked reality of campaign trails, the intrusion into everyday lives, and the unintended consequences of spontaneous stops. Vance's response shifted the focus from the initial awkwardness to a broader conversation about the human side of political campaigns. Supporters and even some skeptics began to view the incident through a more compassionate lens. The young woman's reaction was relatable. Many could empathize with being thrust into an unexpected and uncomfortable situation. Vance's handling of the aftermath, prioritizing her feelings, and publicly addressing the situation with sincerity, garnered respect. The episode at Holt's Sweet Shop became more than just a viral moment. It served as a reminder of the importance of empathy, humility, and genuine human connection in politics. Vance's approach to the situation demonstrated that leadership involves not just grand gestures and speeches, but also the grace to acknowledge missteps and the willingness to make amends.
A broader reflection on political campaigns and businesses. This incident at Primanti Brothers is emblematic of the delicate balance businesses must maintain during politically charged times. Hosting political figures can inadvertently position an establishment within partisan debates, potentially alienating segments of their customer base. Conversely, denying service can lead to public outcry and accusations of bias. In recent years, several businesses have found themselves at the crossroads of politics and commerce. For instance, in August 2024, Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate Governor Tim Walz visited a different Primanti Brothers location. That visit also sparked controversy, with some patrons alleging they were asked to leave to accommodate a campaign event. Such incidents underscore the challenges businesses face in navigating political engagements without appearing partisan. The ripple effect on Vance's campaign. For Senator J.D. Vance, the Primanti Brothers episode became a defining moment in his campaign, showcasing his ability to handle adversity with poise. Political analysts noted that his response could resonate positively with undecided voters, portraying him as a candidate who prioritizes unity and community support over division. Moreover, the incident sparked discussions about the role of businesses in political discourse and the expectations placed upon them by the public. As the 2024 election approached, it became increasingly evident that the intersections of politics, commerce, and public opinion were more pronounced than ever. Conclusion. The encounter at Primanti Brothers served as a microcosm of the broader societal challenges in navigating political polarization. Senator J.D. Vance's handling of the situation highlighted the importance of grace under pressure and the need to focus on common goals amidst divisive times. As businesses and political figures continue to interact in public spaces, the lessons from this incident underscore the value of communication, understanding, and the shared commitment to community values. The aftermath and public reaction. The incident at Primanti Brothers quickly became a hot topic in the media, with reactions pouring in from all sides. Conservative news outlets framed the event as yet another example of political bias against right-leaning figures, while liberal commentators downplayed the significance, arguing that businesses have the right to control their environment. Social media, as expected, became a battleground, with hashtags like Boycott Primanti and Stand with Vance trending on X, formerly Twitter. Many of Vance's supporters lauded his response, seeing it as a testament to his character. "This is how a leader acts," one user posted, calm, respectful, and focused on the bigger picture. Others saw an opportunity to contrast Vance's handling of the situation with the behavior of other politicians who had reacted aggressively in similar circumstances. At the same time, some critics suggested that Vance's campaign had intentionally staged the moment to create a viral moment. "This is a classic political stunt," one political analyst commented on MSNBC. "A surprise. Visit, a little controversy, and suddenly you have a headline that boosts your visibility in key battleground states." However, many independent voters viewed the situation as a reflection of the increasing politicization of everyday spaces. "Why does everything have to be political?" one Pennsylvania resident told a local news station. "I just want to eat a sandwich without thinking about the election." Other politicians weigh in. As the story gained traction, several politicians offered their perspectives. Former President Donald Trump, a close ally of J.D. Vance, posted on Truth Social, "Unbelievable. The radical left is at it again. Now they won't even let J.D. Vance eat a sandwich in peace. Disgraceful. We will remember this on November 5th. On the other side, President Joe Biden's campaign declined to comment directly on the incident, but released a statement emphasizing the importance of respecting businesses' rights. Private establishments have the right to serve whom they choose, just as the American people have the right to express their views through their votes. Senator Bernie Sanders, known for his direct style, commented, "In a fair society, no one should be denied service because of their political beliefs. I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, or an independent. You should be able to eat your lunch without controversy." J.D. Vance turns the moment into a rallying cry. Rather than letting the incident fade into the background, Vance's campaign used it to energize supporters. The next day, at a rally in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Vance opened his speech by addressing the controversy head-on. "Folks, we live in a time where common sense is under attack," he told the crowd. "I was just trying to grab a sandwich, talk to some hard-working Pennsylvanians, and suddenly, it's a national crisis. But let me tell you something. This isn't about me. It's about you. It's about every American who feels like they're being pushed aside, told to be quiet, told that their voice doesn't matter. Well, guess what? Your voice does matter, and we're going to make sure it's heard loud and clear on Election Day." The crowd erupted in applause, with chants of "USA, USA" filling the air. Vance's campaign team wasted no time capitalizing on the energy, launching a new ad featuring footage from the rally alongside clips of the Primanti brothers incident. The ad's tagline? "They tried to shut us out, but America stands strong." Flop Pinoy. Business fallout for Primanti Bros. A's calls for a boycott grew. Primanti Bros. Found itself in damage control mode. While some patrons supported the restaurant's decision, others expressed disappointment, arguing that businesses should remain neutral in political matters. "We've been coming here for years," one longtime customer told a local news station. "I don't care about politics, I just want a good sandwich. But now, every time I think about going, I have to wonder if I'm walking into a political war zone." Despite the controversy, the chain reported an initial surge in sales as progressive customers made a point to support them. However, over the following weeks, online reviews took a hit, and reservations at some locations reportedly dipped. In an effort to mend fences, Primanti Brothers released another statement reiterating its commitment to serving all customers, regardless of political affiliation. A turning point in the campaign. As the election drew closer, political analysts debated whether this incident would have any lasting impact. Some argued that it was just another example of the culture war battles that dominate modern elections. Briefly, grabbing headlines before being replaced by the next controversy. Others, however, believed it could play a role in shaping voter perception, particularly among moderates who are tired of political division. For J.D. Vance, the event was a gift, a moment that allowed him to reinforce his image as a candidate who connects with ordinary Americans and refuses to be rattled by setbacks. As one strategist put it, Vance didn't just handle the situation well, he turned it into an advantage. That's the mark of a skilled politician. As Election Day approached, one thing was clear. A simple meal at a sandwich shop had become yet another flashpoint in the ever-intensifying battle for America's future. The viral effect and social media frenzy. As the Primanti brothers incident continued to dominate headlines, it took on a life of its own across social media. Clips of J.D. Vance being denied service, his calm reaction, and the walkout of his supporters were shared millions of times across TikTok, X, Instagram, and Facebook. Influencers, political commentators, and everyday Americans weighed in, with opinions split sharply along partisan lines. Conservative influencers used the moment to highlight what they saw as a growing hostility toward Republican figures in public spaces. If this were a Democrat being refused service, the media would be calling it discrimination, one prominent right-wing YouTuber argued. Others called for a widespread boycott, urging their followers to support truly American businesses instead. On the other hand, liberal activists dismissed the controversy, with some suggesting that businesses have a right to refuse service, particularly when an unannounced campaign event could disrupt normal operations. Vance wasn't there as a private citizen, he was making a campaign stop. One viral post read, "Restaurants aren't obligated to be used as political stages." Memes also exploded in popularity, with some supporters editing images of Vance heroically standing outside Primanti Brothers, as if he were a symbol of political perseverance. Others mocked the situation with captions like, "Denied a sandwich, now a martyr." Fox News versus MSNBC, the media divide. Cable news networks wasted no time in turning the incident into a political talking point. Fox News covered the story extensively, with hosts like Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson, who had recently launched an independent show, describing it as an example of the intolerant left. A segment on the Ingram angle framed it as an attack on free speech and conservative values. "If they can do this to J.D. Vance, what's stopping them from doing it to you?" Laura Ingram asked her audience. Meanwhile, MSNBC and CNN took a different approach, questioning whether the situation had been blown out of proportion. "This is just another distraction," one CNN panelist remarked. "At the end of the day, this doesn't impact jobs, healthcare, or foreign policy. It's a campaign stunt, plain and simple." The contrast in coverage was stark, illustrating just how differently the political spectrum perceived the same event. J.D. Vance doubles down. Sensing the momentum, J.D. Vance continued to reference the incident at every campaign stop. His team began selling "No Sandwich, No Problem" t-shirts, with proceeds going toward voter outreach efforts. The merchandise sold out within hours, with many supporters proudly wearing them to rallies. During a major campaign event in Ohio, Vance took the stage holding a Primanti Brothers-style sandwich. "You know, I finally got my hands on one of these," he joked. "Turns out the sandwich is great, but you know what's even greater? The American people who refuse to be silenced." The crowd erupted in cheers. His opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, largely ignored the controversy, focusing instead on policy-driven messaging. However, some within the Democratic Party privately expressed concern that the incident had given Vance an unexpected boost in enthusiasm among the GOP base. The restaurant's attempt at damage control. As the boycott threats continued, Primanti Brothers found itself in a difficult position. In a last-ditch effort to quell the backlash, the restaurant's CEO went on a local news station to explain their side of the story. "This was never about politics," he insisted. "We simply weren't prepared for a large campaign stop, without notice. We welcome all customers, regardless of political affiliation." Despite this attempt at clarification, the controversy refused to die down. Conservative patrons continued to abandon the chain, while progressive customers increased their patronage to show support. One unexpected consequence was a surge in business for smaller, local diners in Pennsylvania that openly welcomed Vance supporters. Several restaurants even put up signs saying, "J.D. Vance eats here," drawing in a wave of new customers. How the incident shaped the final weeks of the campaign. With the election only weeks away, the Primanti Brothers controversy became a symbolic moment in the race. For J.D. Vance, it reinforced his image as a fighter for ordinary Americans who refuse to be shut out by the establishment. For Democrats, it was yet another example of the right manufacturing outrage over minor incidents. Political strategists debated whether the incident would have a lasting impact. Some believed it helped Vance energize his base in critical swing states like Pennsylvania and Ohio. Others argued that voters were more focused on economic issues, foreign policy, and health care rather than a restaurant controversy. A final poll released a week before Election Day showed a tightening race, with Vance's ticket gaining ground among working-class voters, particularly in Rust Belt states. Whether or not the sandwich shop incident played a role was debatable, but one thing was certain. J.D. Vance had successfully turned an unexpected denial into a defining campaign moment. Election night, the moment of truth. As results poured in. On November 5th, all eyes were on Pennsylvania. Would the Primanti Brothers controversy translate into real votes, or would it fade into the background as just another campaign stunt? In a shocking turn of events, the results in Pennsylvania were razor-thin, with the race too close to call late into the night. Analysts speculated that Vance's surge among working-class voters in western Pennsylvania had made a significant impact. Regardless of the final outcome, the Primanti Brothers incident would be remembered as one of the more bizarre yet politically potent moments of the 2024 election, a testament to how in today's America, even a simple sandwich can become a flashpoint for national debate.